Hello and welcome to McGraw Sauce, the podcast all about helping entrepreneurs level up to become awesome. Each week I bring you actionable advice to help both you and your business grow. This week I interviewed Darine BenAmara. Darine is the owner of The Smart Woman, where she teaches female leaders how to build a professional brand and stand out from the crowd. She's worked all over the world for some pretty important people like prime ministers and chiefs of staff. She now uses her extensive knowledge to give back to entrepreneurs and help them grow their brand into something amazing. I can't wait to talk to Darine, so let's dive in. Darine, thank you so much for being here with me today. I am really excited to talk to you. You're one of the most outstanding entrepreneurs that I've met in the last little while, so I'm just super excited to be speaking with you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words and kind introduction, and thank you for having me.
It's all about kindness around here, Darine. I'm like the nicest guy you'll ever meet. That's
I
what I'm
can
trying.
feel it. I can feel it. I can feel your vibes through the screen. So we're all good.
I just hope everyone can feel those vibes, Darine. I think that's my mission in life. I'm so glad that we're talking because we actually met, and that's sort of like how I want to start things off with you. We met over LinkedIn, and it was specifically your content that caught my eye. And obviously, I'm hanging around in the entrepreneurial circles, and I'm obviously doing my best to connect with all other entrepreneurs, like-minded individuals, because you want to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. We're all
Of
trying to build,
course.
we're all trying to grow, and we never know how we can fit into each other's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We never know who can help who knows what. So why not try to build a really strong network? But your content specifically stands out to me so clearly. And I'm a guy who makes content, right? I'm a content creator. I also make it for my clients. And your content is one of the few accounts that's standing above the others in a sea of noise. Yours is very clear to me. I love your color palette.
Thank you.
I love your messaging. Well, you've earned it. Like you've worked really hard on it.
I
Your
do.
your color palette, your messaging, the way you position yourself, the way that you basically talked to your very, very specific target audience, which is working women, which is female entrepreneurs trying to help them grow a brand. And I am going to ask you about your own brand for sure. But your content stands above the rest for me, specifically on LinkedIn. Like you're a shining light on LinkedIn. So I have a few questions for you. One, why do you think that LinkedIn is a great place to do what you're doing specifically? And two, is your content sort of one of the crowning things that you're using? One of the, I guess you could say, one of the pillars of your brand, pumping out your content, pumping out your messaging,
Yeah.
particularly your videos stand out to me for sure. Is that one of the ways that you're trying to build up your business?
Yes, it is. So to answer your first question, actually, I have been on LinkedIn for quite some times, but I think like a lot of people out there, I wasn't consistent at all on LinkedIn. I would just like pop on from once in a while when I had like important events or information to share, but that was all. And then the COVID-19 situation happened, and I basically lost everything. So and I'm sure we're gonna get into details
Mhm.
a little bit later. So but what happened, I was looking for new ways to build the momentum and to start from scratch again. And I have been active on Facebook, on Instagram, and this is how I started initially on Instagram, and everything like fell apart. So I was looking for a professional platform where I could build a momentum, and as opposed to Facebook and LinkedIn, for example, and I don't want to talk about TikTok and Snapchat, just to focus on the main ones, even though that we know these platforms are like huge right now. Um, but then I was looking for a highest level of professionalism, first of all, on the social media platform. And then I was looking for a platform where I could still like grow organically. And that's something that you cannot do anymore on
Mhm.
Instagram, on Facebook. The online space is saturated. So I was looking for a place that was not saturated, where I could grow effectively and organically, and LinkedIn obviously was the one to pick up.
When you say grow organically,
Yeah.
that means a lot to me. And I can only imagine that the way you're building your business is building relationships with people.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Yeah, and LinkedIn is all about relationships. I mean, you can, of course, you can build relationships on all different platforms, but building is really meant for building relationship. At least this is how I see it, and I do believe people using the platform, professionals using the platform, like are on this platform for the same purpose of building their network. And when it comes to growing organically and building relationships, the best way to build relationships and to network finally is by providing value. This
Mm,
is where my video strategies come in actually. So I do record videos because we know that video marketing is on top of the list right now, and we have to focus on video marketing. But on top of that, I love doing videos. So for
mm.
me, this is not the first year. I mean, I have been doing videos for quite some time, but I love doing videos. But for me, videos and is the best way to provide as much value as I can to the community and to foster relationships.
I also think it's probably the fastest way, apart from being in the room with someone. It's got to be the
Mm.
fastest way to form a connection. Like you speaking to me, to one person viewing your thing, delivering that message. This is how I think you could improve your business, how you can improve your life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we're listening to your video and we're watching it, we're consuming it. That's got to be the fastest way, apart from being in the room with them. That's got to be the fastest way. There's no way reading your text or, flipping through some images will form a bond as quickly as video does.
Oh yeah, definitely. And people need to see you, and they need to get to know you and to build trust. And the best way to do so is by posting videos so they can see you on a daily basis, or at least regularly, right? And even more so now that we have less and less humans interaction, physical interaction, in-person interaction, I should say. Like, it's not because we are transitioning on the online world that it doesn't have to be less personal or less
Mm.
humans, right? And so I do believe like video is really the best way to show up for your audience, for your community, to share your message, to provide value, and to get to know each other.
Is that one of the things that you teach your clients in your business, which is called the Smart Woman? And what a
Yes.
segue, eh? Don't you love how smooth that was? Oh, I'm the master of
Don't you
segues.
love that name?
I do.
Yeah, so that's one of the things actually I focus on my business. So really through my business, I'm focused on training women on building self-confidence, self-awareness, but also how to network and communicate effectively. The reality is that like even though self-promotion can be challenging for a lot of people, women are disproportionately affected, right?
Mm.
And for many reasons, social, cultural, like different reasons. But then I really focus on providing women the tools to promote themselves effectively so they can
Mm.
climb the ladder, they can break another glass ceiling, or they can just feel comfortable and not be proud of what they do, all their accomplishments, and put it out there. Because the more you, first of all, if you don't promote yourself, whoever you are, if you don't promote yourself, then no one else will, right?
Exactly.
So you got to do it for yourself. But then the more you showcase your work, the more you promote your achievements, the more you come across as an expert in your field, and the more you are visible, the more you create opportunities, and the more you generate revenues, right? So
Mm.
that's really where my focus is.
I couldn't agree more. If you don't promote yourself, who will? Right?
No
Like if
one.
you don't believe in what you're doing, if you
Yeah.
don't believe, if you can't stand behind it, if you just ask others, consume my content, buy my stuff, but
Mhm.
what's that? Like that there's no one believes in you as much as you believe in you. So um
Exactly.
I love that, and I love that that's what you teach too, and I love
Mm.
and also like you're practicing what you're preaching, right? I see you every day. Like I'm
Yeah.
on LinkedIn every day. I see your face every day. I look forward to your messaging every day. And even though
Thank
it's
you.
not, even though I'm not your ideal client and I'm not like your part of your target audience, it's still like it's still positive
Hmm.
vibes and just you showing up. I could have muted your video and I could have not seen captions. I don't even know what you're saying. And the fact that you've shown up is a reminder to me, oh, Darine's showing up. I guess I got to show up too. Like it's just
Yeah.
another reminder. Well, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm coming from a very modest background, and I was able to build a successful career and then to build my business and rebuild now my business. But then, yeah, I mean, I'm very straightforward. I'm the kind of no BS style, you know. I go straight to the point and I practice what I preach. I'm not here to
Mhm.
tell you I'm an expert because of this. I don't have any magic formula. That's what I keep telling people. Like, there is work to do, but as long as you're willing to put your skin in the game and that you have the right strategy and the right tools to do so, then you are unstoppable. Just to come back to one point that you mentioned, that yes, indeed, my audience is women,
Mhm.
because I mean, they can relate better to my story and I can understand better the obstacles, right, and so on. You would be surprised that a lot of men actually are among my community. And when
Mm.
I used to host events, conferences, workshops, masterclass, a few men would always be in the attendance, and they would always be like, "Oh, you know, I know it's for women, but can I stay?" And of course, you can stay. My door is open to everyone. The Smart Woman platform is really for everyone. Everything that I share is valuable to everyone.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I'm part of your community for sure. Like I'm part of your tribe, and
Yeah.
I may not be learning from every lesson that you have, but one of the things that I really love about you is it's like you say, you're very modest, and I don't hear you talk a lot about this, but I know a little bit about it, which is your extensive worldly background. Like you've generated a ton of experience in your working
Hmm.
career in a very short time. You've traveled
Yeah.
all over the world. You've worked for some pretty powerful people. I'd like to dive into that a little bit more to know where your experience comes from, because I know all the hardship that you faced gave the smart woman its foundation. Like it's given your
Yeah.
business. That's what helped birth your business.
Definitely, yeah. So where to start? I was born and raised in the poorest city of France. I had 3 meals a day growing up. My mom didn't. So I come from a very like modest background, like rural area in France. When I say I'm French, people usually are like, "Oh, I love Paris," you know. But you know, listen, I have been only once to Paris, to tell you the truth. What a shame. But yes, I come from a very small town where you don't have like much to do. And then, but I always knew deep inside that I was meant to something bigger, to something different. So growing up, it wasn't easy, and I didn't know what it was until I was maybe 20 something year old. Fast forward, actually, so I started to develop my international career, working for international organizations, business organizations, designing programs, designing and implementing programs for women's capacity building at different level. And then at some point, I realized that all the country I had been to, all the women I had worked with were facing the same challenges, but at different level.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's interesting. You know, that was very interesting to me. And then in 2016, I was recognized as one of the top 100 young leaders and entrepreneurs by the White House.
Oh my God.
So that was cool. Yeah. So I had started a blog. Basically, the blog does not exist anymore, but I had this blog where I was sharing my experience, you know, about the work that I was doing in the field and so on. And this is how I got recognized. So I was there. I went there for 1 week for an intensive leadership training. And at the end of the week, among the 100 young people we were there, only one person was hired, and it was me. And actually, if fast forward my career, of course, as you can imagine, I started to work with one of the advisors to Barack Obama, not with Barack Obama. I have never met him, but I was working with one of his advisors on his different businesses. And so I got the opportunity to work at to work at the highest level of politics and business. But the thing is, I was the youngest person in the room all the time. When you meet with ministers, ambassadors, and like all these wealthy people, they're like quite old, to tell you the truth. But then I was the only woman. So all the time I was traveling and working at that level, I was the only woman, and it was very, very formative to me, because I've learned so much from this experience. How men collaborate, how they do business together, how they create opportunities for each other, how they network, and so on and so on. And I was like, man, we women, we are so far behind when it comes to networking and building relationships, and putting ourselves up front. So when I came back to Canada, this was actually the base. I didn't know back in time, but this was the base and the foundation of the Smart Woman. When I came back to Canada, I was like, okay, no, you know what? I want to share and I want to transfer this knowledge to as many women as possible, so they can, build the life that they deserve. Yeah.
I think, I mean, that journey of yours is crazy, from working with, like you said, advisors and ministers, and being recognized by the White House, all coalesce to see that all of your experiences just showing you that, oh, if only we could level up the same way, imagine how much further along we would be too. Because I think you're right. I don't think, I can only speak from my experiences. Obviously, I don't speak for men across the planet, but in everything that I see, men don't hesitate to work with each other as fast as possible. Men don't work, oh, you know a guy, I know a guy too, and then I'll get you in touch with him. We're really fast with it. If there's an opportunity, someone's connecting somebody.
Yeah.
And it's not even about, oh, he's a guy, so I'll help him. She's a woman, I'm not gonna. No. If we see an opportunity, we're gonna connect you to him, and her to him, and she to him. Like, we'll do it. Like no one has to. We don't ask for permission. If you have that entrepreneurial fire, we just go for it. Why do you think that is? Why do you think maybe women are a bit slower or not as quick to jump on opportunities? Do you think it's just they haven't been shown it in your experience, or they haven't had the opportunity? Like, why do you think men think this way and women don't think that way, at least in the beginning?
But so
I
there
mean,
are
I'm sure
more and more.
there's a million things. I'm sure it's such a
Yeah,
loaded question.
of course, yes. So I'm thinking about, okay, how can
World
I?
right now.
But the thing is, first of all, let me tell you that I'm happy to see that there is more and more women, stepping up and, building the life for themselves and being badass. And I mean, we see it all over now. But so it's great to have more role models and more women up front. But the thing is, I think there is a different reasons. The main ones being, maybe, we women, we are raised, most of us, not all of us, but most of us, in an environment where we are told to be quiet, to be nice, to be polite. You don't speak up. You have this, like, it sounds cliche, but this idea. Exactly. So then when you become an adult, it's difficult to be aware of the power of your voice, right? You're not aware of this. And then, we live in a society when we receive like constant messages from all over. You turn on your phone, the TV, the computer, you receive messages, and you see all these Instagram feeds of what a beautiful woman is supposed to be, what a smart woman is supposed to be, what a good mom is supposed to be, what a good, like, wife is supposed to be. And at the end of the day, you try to fit in, and you don't even know how to listen to your inner voice. That's one of the main elements. Another one, when it comes to networking, if we want to, like, talk a little bit more about strategy, is most of the time, we women, we approach networking as a social activity as opposed to be a strategic activity, right? And that's really the core of my activity through the Smart Woman, where, okay, listen, we women, usually the way we work is we have the social life and we have the business life, and they don't overlap. As to
Uh,
men, you guys, you go hang out with the same guys you do business with, right?
the lines are blurred all the time. There's overlap constantly.
Exactly. So for 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 a lot of women, first of all, it's double
Mm-hmm.
work because you have double list, if I can say
Mm-hmm.
so, and then it doesn't overlap. So it's really hard, to create opportunities and to make it one together and useful and powerful. So I really teach women how to be strategic about networking. Networking is the most powerful tools that you can use for success.
This is
That's it.
why
That's
this is
all.
why I'm part of your community, Darine, because I don't care that I'm not like going to be part of your coaching or whatever. What you just said, it's like a lot of entrepreneurs need to hear it. You understand that networking is not a social it's not some social activity, like business and networking, like they're the same, right? Like you can,
Yeah,
like it's like you said, guys will go to like the soccer game or the hockey game together, and in the locker room they're like, hey, did you hear about that deal I did? Oh yeah. Like there's no boxes for them. They don't put themselves in boxes.
exactly.
They can be hanging out drinking and somehow formulate a business deal right
Hmm.
there drinking with each other, and then it continues on with texting later, and it's like their downtime watching the game, and they're still formulating business ideas with each other.
Yeah,
There's no stopping. We do not stop with that.
exactly.
And I think there's a lot of young entrepreneurs, male and female, who
Hmm.
think not like you, who think that, oh well, it's 9 to 5, I'll clock out now. Do you know what I mean? And I don't have to think about any more strategy. And if I'm going to the family function or that social event, I don't have to be
Yeah,
on my business. You have to live your brand. You have to live your
yeah,
business. It's just an unfortunate fact where if you're an entrepreneur, you actually look forward to like living your business and talking shop all the time. You want to talk shop all the time because you never know where an opportunity exists.
definitely. Opportunities are everywhere. You just need to keep an open eye. That's it. And
Mm.
networking is really part of creating more opportunities for yourself. So it was true when it was in-person networking, but now it's even more essential that we live in a virtual world, right? You need to network with people, you need to approach people, and you need to be genuine about the way you approach people and the way you build relationships.
So do you now teach those strategies, but more for an online world? Because if I was in a room with people, you and I are kind of, I feel like we're kind of kindred spirits in that we could work a room.
Yeah.
Like you and I are
Hmm.
extroverts. We could go make friends. We could make friends in every corner of the globe. I feel like you and I are probably like that. And it's easy to work a room when you're in a room with people, but approaching people online, there is a bit of a, I'm trying to articulate what I'm looking for. There's a bit of a kind of a cordial. There has to be some manners there. Do you know what I mean? You can't just sell, 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 hit people with
No, you
sales pitch
can't.
all the
Oh
time.
no.
So there is a way to approach people online. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
building a relationship should come easily. I know typing and doing voice notes and Zoom calls are all part of it. But do you teach your your clients and your customers different ways where, okay, back in the good times we would have done networking like this if we could go to an event and if we could be in the same room as people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's sort of changed online. Some of the things have remained the same, but you do
Yeah.
have to adjust kind of your tone of
Mm-hmm.
voice. You kind of have to have a different kind of language when you approach people online. Do you believe that's true?
I do believe that's true, but actually part of the things that I were like teaching for in-person networking was to do your homework, so to do your research and to connect with people online
Mhm.
before you meet them in person. So basically it doesn't change that much, except that for now, the second part of the meeting doesn't take place, right? But you
Right.
gotta do your homework, you gotta do your research. Who is it that you want to network with? Why? Do you
Right.
have common ground? So, and for a lot of people, talking to strangers or starting a conversation with people that they don't know can be like intimidating. So what I always suggest was to start the conversation online on social media. So basically for the first part, it doesn't change much, right? But then now it's about being able to do a follow-up and to nurture these relationships online. without meeting people. Like, and now we can meet people all over the world, like from the comfort of our house. So that's amazing. I find it
Yeah.
actually amazing. That's incredible. Yes, we're going through tough time, but the opportunities that are opening up to us are just amazing, and they are like limitless.
Yeah. I have to imagine that 10, 15 years ago, this wouldn't be happening. Like we wouldn't have the power of the web, right, helping us to meet other people everywhere. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to use the power that you have in front
Hmm.
of you, because if you're not, it's just going to waste. Um, I would like to know, with all of the strategy and all of the experience that you have, what's sort of next for you? Like, what's next for your brand, The Smart Woman? Where do you see your brand going? Where do you see your teachings, and the client base that you have? Where do you see it? How do you see yourself growing? Because I know as an entrepreneur, you're always thinking about that, right?
Of
So,
course.
what's sort of next for Darine and The Smart Woman?
um so for me, what's next now, what was different that was supposed to be next, like a couple of months ago. I really see the Smart Woman being international. So
Mm,
2020 was the year of expansion, and I was traveling to West Africa to actually open an office there when the COVID-19 happened.
mm,
So I did open an office in West Africa, and it was working well. And then COVID-19 happened. And so my business model was based on face-to-face training. I'm a people person. I love people, and I love, sharing and feeling the vibes. So my business model collapsed, and I find myself in a situation where my contract were canceled, partnerships were canceled. I was stuck overseas for 7 months. So I came back to Canada 2 months ago right now. But for 7 months, I was in Africa, and my business was falling apart there and here, and there was nothing that I could do at that time. So since I came back, of course, I have a different perspective on things, and the COVID-19 has taught me some of the hardest lessons in my life, but some of the greatest lessons in my life, I want to
mhm,
say. So now the way I see the Smart Woman is really expanding online. Because I realized, and I was very aware of this, but I was trying to, to push it on the side, but you can
mhm,
still have like powerful and wonderful connections, and impact online only, because I can feel your vibes, you can feel mine. And even though it's slightly different, I can still make, I know I can still make it happen. So really the next move is to focus on my online programs. I'm starting a new online program, Leading Brand Mastery, where I take my clients through the process of building a professional brand, which means building your professional reputation
mm,
online. So then you become well known in your industry, and the go-to person when it comes to the next opportunities. So this is really where my focus is. This is what I had started before the COVID-19, because I realized that I was training all these women and all these people on effective networking strategies. But then, something that we do when we meet people in person, the first thing that we do, we Google them.
mhm. Yeah.
Okay. I meet you on the street, I meet you on an event, whatever, I will Google you. And if what I find on Google is not really kind of what you told me when we met in
Mm,
person, or if I find nothing, it kills the relationship. So I
mhm,
was already, transitioning on helping people and women to really build a presence for themselves online. And then COVID-19, I just like speed up the process and made people realize that, okay, you cannot avoid that. You have to claim your space, your online space now, because if you wait too long, it will be too late, because
mhm,
it will become saturated as well.
mhm.
And the more you are visible, and the more you stay on top of people's mind, and the more you create opportunities for yourself.
Yeah, living your brand. It's every day.
Yeah, be your brand. I mean, and I was surprised to hear, I was listening to a podcast with Gary Vee, and I was surprised to hear that a lot of people hate the word building a brand, or personal brand, or professional brand. But
Mm,
basically, uh, building your professional brand is building your reputation.
Sure it is.
So if you are serious about what you do, you want to ensure that you build a reputation, you build a name for yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you will ever own is your name. So you want to make sure that your name is attached to the right things, right?
Yeah. You want to be that go-to person
You
when
want to be
someone,
that go-to
right,
person.
when someone
Yeah.
has a
Why would
problem,
I
they're like,
choose you?
who
Yeah.
could, oh, them. And then
Yeah.
you're top of mind. Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, I mean, with a sales pitch like that, Darine, sign me up. You said you work with guys too, right? So I'm going to
Yes,
sign
I
up
do.
to your next program in 2021. Darine, this has been amazing and insightful and educational for sure. And
Thank you.
at the end of all of it, it's been super motivating because everything that you've just said, and I knew we were sort of kindred spirits. Everything you said, I totally jive with. Living your brand, being an expert, showing up, visibility,
Yeah.
all of these things are so irreplaceable as you try
Yeah.
to grow a business for yourself. So thank you so much for being here with me today and sharing your
Thank
expertise.
you.
And like I said, I can't wait to see what you build in the future.
Thank you so much. But may I add a little thing that I think is very important is
Sure.
that I think people don't realize how much perception is reality. The way people perceive you is reality. So the way you show up online becomes the reality for people who engage with your content and with you online. So make sure that you post the right type of content and that you show up in a professional way and in a strategic way, so people realize that okay, there is not so much of a gap between who you are, like
Hmm.
as a person, as a professional, and the way people perceive you.
Darine, where can people find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Darine BenAmara. They can also find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, The Smart WMN, and my website www.thesmartwmn.com.
Amazing. Thank you, Darine, so much for being
Thank
here
you
with
so
me
much
today.
for your time. Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you got real value from it. Darine is truly someone who's inspiring future leaders and entrepreneurs, and I just know she's contributing to something in making a big change worldwide. If you like this episode, feel free to like and subscribe to this show, and as always, remember to stay McGraw.